Hey everybody, Anthony for Before Planning for an Adventure. I'm doing a bit of auto electrical. It's time to fix this up. When it comes to the auto electrical, you do need to do something half decent. Do it once, do it right. This is like a 50 amp wire, dual core. So if it's connected correctly at the other end, there's no need to earth that. My preferred system is running a single positive. You can even go bigger than what this positive is, and do multiple earths on the body behind there, and it's 100% the best way to go. But this will do the job, but these solder connections won't. So DIY, not bad, but let's just take a look here. So personally, I normally put the panel on the side there, not on that takes up the storage space, and you're bumping wires around every time you go to your storage space, which might not be that often. And of course, sometimes I like to run these individual fuse holders. They come in handy. Gives you a nice little neat job to do anyway. But one of the issues I noticed, and this vehicle did have an issue with a fridge and powering the fridge. Do you reckon this might have something to do with it? Be good if I had an extra hand. See that? I think that could have something to do with it. Let's check the next one. Look at that. That's not much of a connection either, is it? Look at that. So don't solder those, okay? They're not designed to be soldered, and you'll have a bit of issue. And I'm sure if we check the other ones, we're going to find the same thing as well. This is where the power came into the show. That one actually might be the one that's holding, but yeah, it doesn't look too good overall, does it? Anyway, so we're going to disconnect, get rid of all that, give all that a tidy up. We may use that plate or some of those eBay specials. We just order a few different sizes. They're pretty cheap. If you buy this in one of those auto shops, if you went to J-Car or something, I'm going to guess you could spend 30, 40 or 50 or more on something like that. And these, whatever, individual. I think I've seen these individual things like that for about 30 bucks, where of course you buy that, you're getting a 4-way, all the switches, whatever you need, for about 20, I think, delivered to your door. Same as these, 12 bucks delivered to your door. Looks like quality, same quality. You go into your electrical auto supply store, automotive, whatever, and you probably pay, I'm going to guess, $20 to $30 for one of those. Looks fine, right? So, you know, your power cut, that's your negative, comes in there, your positive comes in at the bottom, and then you just take them all off there and the fuses out the side. Pretty straightforward. We've got other videos showing this. I'm not going to go into too much detail. Just going to get rid of this first, and we're going to have a hole there, I think, I guess, if or 4 holes if we don't do something. So do I just leave a blank panel there and move it across, or do I just use it because it's done anyway, or do I buy a new lid? I wonder how much a lid is. I might check that out now. That cover, retail 92 bucks. So I'll give it a miss. I thought if it's 20 or 30, I'll just put a new one, then I don't have to think anymore, because what I did on the previous vehicles, put that little fuse holder, goes nice and neat in there. Well, it works well. It's out of your way. You've still got all your storage, and the wires go straight back out the side again through the trim to your panel out here. Then you're not losing any space, but we'll just deal with what we've got. Quickly unplug those, and a quick touch with a soldering iron, and they came off. So that was certainly an interesting idea, stripping and splitting the cable and soldering, but a bad idea. So just use some smaller gauge wire, run it all separately, bring your main one in with a spade terminal straight onto one of those, and the rest of them you just jump to each other as demonstrated in previous videos. Check the playlists. The 2022 Prado build will probably have the information you need, or fridge, battery, solar, one of those playlists on either or both of the YouTube channels. So a quick soldering iron solder sucker comes in handy, but I haven't got any. But clean those up. I'll just make sure the spade terminals still work, and we'll work out which ones we're going to reuse. The next problem with this auto electrical, after I took that tape off, this I guess was meant to be crimped onto there, and it wasn't. It was all just, I don't know what that extra bit of wire there is, but that was all just sitting in there. So yeah, no wonder there was problems, right? Anyway, I decided to start from scratch because it had this, I'm going to call it old school cigarette lighter, a couple of turns and it comes off, but it was just a bit different. I'm going to stick with these plastic ones. I don't really want the metal out there behind when you're taking the cover off. I don't know, like I feel like it's the odd one out. So we're going to start fresh, and I'm going to use one of these panels there, selecting the most important. I might put all the power outlets there and put a voltmeter and a switch on the side panel on this smaller one, right? We could put the voltmeter and the switch on a side panel, so we could switch it off. But switching it off is going to save power, because we know these do drain batteries. but every time I go to look at it, I'm going to need to switch it on, which is a pain. So I think I'm not going to use the switch. I usually don't, but we'll see what happens in the end. So first thing I did, I'm not spending a lot of time on it, but just got the die grinder and gave those edges a bit of a tidy up. And also around on the back, let's flip it around. Just flattening off some of those areas where these little nuts need to do up. In case you're not sure, yes, these are all interchangeable. You just take out, put in whatever you want. So if you've got a few, you just switch and swap. So I'm working with what I've got here, but I'm just saying, just taking a little bit off so that the nuts do up. And for the people that said, hey, flip the camera in, there you go, it's flipped around. That's how my camera works. You like that? How's that for privacy? Beautiful. Right, jokes aside, that's the configuration I've gone for. I've got a voltmeter at the top to tell me I've got a spare accessory that I don't even know what I'm going to use it for, so only one, because I don't use those anymore. USBs, no such thing as too many, so I've got 2 sets of USBs. I don't see that I need any more than that, and I've just got to power up a UHF from the back and a fridge, so I'll probably put a Anderson plug alongside. I don't think I'm going to put any more of these things in this. I've got a few in stock for the next vehicle. What's that going to be? And bada bing. You don't actually need to put these screws in either, so just to make it a bit neater and easier for you, these caps, these screws, you just do those up nicely. You can see you can put screws in if you want, but it's just not needed because those 4 will certainly retain that trim and everything like that. And it's pretty straightforward to wire it up. You can see the different colors and the positive and negative signs for the red and the black. So we'll continue on with the job. That's where we're at. So I guess if you weren't aware, to put these in facing the right way, you need to twist the rubber boots around. So it's pretty obvious, but some people might not miss that. They twist around, they go at the bottom so that they face up the correct way. Anyway, this video is more about some auto electrical tips and ideas, and might not be the way you're going to do it, but might show you some things not to do. But when I crimp wires like that one, I want to make sure it's done right. So first thing I do, I use a blade like that and just quickly run it around. Right, you can do it as neat as you like. I'm not too fussed about it. And then I use some wire strippers like these, because they don't always work that well. I don't mind the ones, you know, that you cut through with and then you pull it off. Not bad. I mean, you know, this is supposedly different and better, but I don't know. There's lots of different crimpers and wire stripper choices. Up to you, but point is, get it sort of roughly clean like that, give it a twist. In this case, we want the small hole, right, whatever it is, like an M6 or whatever for the bolt size, but we need yellow is the size of the wire that's going to fit in there nice and tight. And obviously you can work out how to use a set of crimpers, whatever, give it a nice, that's crushed that hard, you could hang off it. I don't know if it'd take 100 kilos or 10 kilos or what, but anyway, I'll just keep working on it and just giving you that tip as we go. Anyway, at the end of it, it should end up looking like that. And like I said, you can, I'm not going to pull too hard, I don't want to damage wires, but you can hang off that, give them a good pull, make sure they're not going to come off, right? That's what it should look like. Beautiful. Like I said, I'm working with what I had. There were some holes already drilled here. I could have taken the wire back out. There's a few things I could have done, but I went, you know what? I'm happy to do things different. This allows plenty of wire still to pull through. We've got some spare down there that I'll tuck away, but it comes through the hole, and quite simply you can see the negative to the negative, see, with a minus on it, and the positive to the positive with a plus there. And just the wires are just going to neatly sit there. There's going to be a cover that goes over here. You might wonder why I put it hard to the right, to give myself plenty of wires with the terminal, some room to come out there, and I'm only going to use 3. So I determined that I can put it pretty much hard across that side. The concern was unclipping the cover, but as it turns out, you just give the cover a gentle pull and it just pops off anyway, sort of thing. So I risked it for the biscuit and did that. Like I said, it's a $12 item. It's an older vehicle. I'm not too worried about some holes, but sure, we'll be right the first time. Worst case scenario, we can have another crack at it. Once we connect the wires at the front of the vehicle at the battery, and that'll be fused at that end for these wires, and these fuses will be for the wires from here onwards. So we're going to basically use the top left to power up this setup. We'll use the second one down, or the third one down. The second one down, probably the UHF, which I've got here, which is Velcroed under the seat. It's the Oricon with the controls on the mic and the long lead. You want to know the number. Haven't got it with me at the moment, but you know, it's got the long lead, so you can put the brain where you want. Anyway, I'm going to extend these wires with some other wire, you know, like this, or I've got some other offcuts there with fuses on it. Not that I need a fuse, and some other bits and pieces. I'm still working on it. So UHF will go underneath, and then the fridge wire will come out here, and I'm going to put an Anderson plug, probably just right next to, right about here, to be honest. And then I'll have the Anderson plug for the fridge, which can be unplugged and used for other stuff as well, if necessary, but probably not really. I'm not into just putting heaps of stuff you're not going to use that you don't know what you're going to use it for. I'm pretty confident that everything that I'm going to use is USB power outlets. I'm going to have one spare 12-volt outlet, which, you know, you can get adapters, you know, to put other things, more USBs, but I've got 4 USBs. I know my voltage. I'm going to run a UHF, and I'm going to have an Anderson plug for a fridge, and I think that's it. So I'll continue with that. This is why I save offcuts. I found this offcut, right? It looks a bit untidy, but you know what? It'll do the job. These connectors, they're connected on really well. So I'm just going to put a flat male spade terminal each side there for the UHF. That's going to connect onto there. And then this will go up through the hole and connect onto here. It'll be done in a moment. Piece of cake and simple, and it'll work. Oh, look at those. Just beautiful, 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 beautiful things. Again, some people won't like this, but there's the UHF. So the wires come up. I've put some awesome male connectors on there. I found a wire with some female already. They clipped in nicely. There's already a 3 amp fuse, I think, in there. And we'll just put a 5 in here because that's probably what we got handy. And that's it. We'll probably put a zip tie or something just to hold those two together and tidy all these wires up a little bit. It's just hanging out at the moment so you can see what's going on. UHF connected. Okay, so they're the fuses supplied. They're a bit cheapy, so I've put there my 3 spares. Now the only difference is where the power supply is at. Instead of coming direct from this wire unfused, it's going to come direct off one of these and be a very similar setup. This isn't taking up too much space. All right, so now we're getting to the important part. That's all sorted out with the quality crimpers. I'm quite really happy with these crescent, these ones out, these, right? These crescent ones. They do the job on these sort of small ones at all. They're the El Cheapo blue ones that came with it. It actually came up pretty well. I could have used yellow to fit the wire in a bit better, but they were going to get big. So that'll stick with the blue. So the single, I use the red on the end and the blue on the others. A few zip ties, and I've run the wire down, around and back up so it's zip tied, so it doesn't get pull. It doesn't pull on anything. You know, when you take it off, sort of thing. It's secure, more secure. Have a look. See, zip tied at the bottom, just in a roundabout kind of a way. Now all I've got to do is cut that wire to length. That one, and connect it up, and that's our USBs powered up. Right, so that's it for today. I just got to get my hands on a Anderson plug. Oh, you want to have a look at it before, right? So this is all earths down the bottom. Pick which one you want. That's your positive. Whichever one. These are just the spares over this side. Spare fuse stored over there. Spare fuses, right? Right. So the fridge is going to go in the top one. It's going to be an Anderson plug. DC outlet, that's you know, these ones here that we've just wired up, and HF radio. I didn't have UHF, so I just crossed out the VHF with a black texter. The cover will just tuck in. I'll end up putting a couple of a zip tie around here, around all the wires, just keeping them together, and it's a nice short wire where you can just lift it off but not too much in the way. That'll tuck around nicely. So thanks for watching. Hope you learned something. We'll have a voltmeter. See what I mean? Like, you're better off to put it there. There's nothing behind there on the GX. You can see this just moves around a bit. Like I said, I work with what I had. There's your USBs, spare power outlet if you need it, and the voltmeter will come on once we connect the battery, and you can still use a bit of storage space in there, but you're not going to be using a lot because most of it's taken up with these wires. But you can see I've set them up in such a way, as I said, that they won't get pulled on and damage anything. Another zip tie will go in there later. But that's it for this video. Bada bing, bada boom. We'll catch you on the next one. This is the sort of tools and equipment you need if you're going to do basic wiring like this. Thanks for watching. Catch you on the next one, people. See ya.